You asked for it. Well, here it is. LG C10 OLED meets the PlayStation 5. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and yeah, we were fortunate enough that Sony sent us a PlayStation 5 for testing. Don't hate, I'm not the reason you can't buy one. I can't buy one either. When we got it, it made sense to pair it with the Sony X900H because, you know, Sony makes the TV, they make the console, they go together. And that turned out pretty wonderfully. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go check that out. But right now, I want to know how the PlayStation 5 is going to jive with the LG C10 OLED. We already know that the LG C10 OLED is a gorgeous television, but it's also quite possibly the most capable gaming TV that you can buy right now. So going into this, I want to know, does an HDMI 2.1 port with 40 gigabits per second of bandwidth unlock anything for the PlayStation 5? Are there any issues that we should know about? And how good does it look? I mean, it looked fantastic on the X900H. How much better could it be on this OLED screen? We're going to dive into all of that and more right now. All right, so we just powered up our LG C10 and I have just plugged in the PlayStation 5, and within seconds we get a notification in the upper right-hand corner saying that it's detected the PS5 and the Magic Motion remote is now going to be able to control the console. Now I'll switch to HDMI 1 where I've got the PS5 connected, and I get another notification that the TV has gone into game mode and it's clearly switched into HDR. That's cool, but I definitely want to check the picture settings. So we'll go into the picture setting menu, and interestingly enough, it's saying cinema. I'm not sure why that is. I'm going to go ahead and proceed here with the PlayStation's setup where we verify that the circles are within the borders of the screen. We're going to make some adjustments to HDR, which I will have to come back and do again after I adjust the TV, but we'll do it for now. And with that out of the way, go back into the picture settings, and for whatever reason, we're still in cinema mode. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I do want this TV to be in game mode, so we'll switch to game mode. And then I'm going to go through a couple of settings. I want to change the color temperature if I can, because this is looking pretty cold and I don't prefer that. I like a slightly warmer look. You choose whatever you like. I'm choosing warm 1. We'll back out of that, and I just want to make sure that there's no motion smoothing turned on in the game mode on the LG TV. It's not engaged. That's great, so we'll just leave that alone. Feeling good about the TV settings now, so I'm going to go back into the PlayStation settings and we'll pull up that HDR adjustment, and I'll do that again now that I know that I've got the TV set up where I want it. So I'm happy with the TV's picture settings for now. I'm happy with the PlayStation's HDR settings for now. I feel like that's a good starting point. Here's something I want you to do if you're going to do any 120 FPS gaming. Go into Save Data and Game App Settings under the main settings menu. Go down to Game Presets and enable performance mode as the default. By default, it's set to game default. Put it in performance mode, and this is going to guarantee that when you go into a game like Call of Duty, Cold War, you're going to get 120 FPS as an option. It also, however, means that if you go into a game like Spider-Man Miles Morales, the default video setting here is going to be performance mode. Now, you can switch this anytime you want to, and I actually prefer to do that. I like playing at 30 frames per second knowing I get better graphics. You get ray tracing, enhanced lighting, and better visual effects overall, and I'm fine with the 30 FPS on this particular game. With performance, the graphics are a bit smoother, but they're not as punchy. However, with a game like Call of Duty Cold War, I'm going to want that 120 FPS. So let's actually go and check that out right now. We'll get into Call of Duty, click play, and run through a few screens here. Okay, and once we're in the game, I can click the settings button for the game, move over to graphics, and unfortunately you can't see it because there's this stupid bright light in the background, but 120 Hertz refresh rate is enabled, and I can verify that by going into a game and pulling up a little info screen that's built into the LG. Okay, we're into the game. I'm gonna smash the green button on the LG's remote to pull up this little info screen, which will show us that we're getting 4K at 120 with, oh, this is interesting, we've dropped down to 422 chroma and 8-bit color. That's very interesting because if we go back into Miles Morales, we'll see something different entirely. So now that we're back in Miles Morales, I will go ahead and double check the video settings. We're in performance mode and I'm fine with that, 60 FPS with slightly lower grade graphics, not significantly, but what I want to do is get into the game and pull up that same info screen. Here we are. All right, so now we've got full 444 color along with 12-bit depth, 60 FPS at 4K. So in what has become this sort of tale of trade-offs, it looks that once you get into 120 FPS, you're not going to get full RGB color. It's going to drop to 422 chroma at 8-bit depth. Interestingly, we can kind of force the PlayStation 5 into different video modes. So let's head over to settings again and down to screen and video. And you'll notice that everything here is automatic. And yes, that's on purpose. The TV and the PlayStation 5 effectively communicate so that it automatically chooses the best resolution, which is going to be 4K in most cases. The HDR is automated. That's fine by me. Deep color is automatic and also it's on right now. With the RGB range, that automatically goes into play and that's all fine. But let's take a look at video transfer rate. If I move this down to -1, you'll notice that up in the corner, we'll go from RGB 12-bit down to 422 at 8-bit, which is what we saw Call of Duty go into just a moment ago, although at 120 Hertz. If we bump that down one more, we go down to 420 chroma, but back up to 12-bit color. And again, we're at 60 Hertz 4K. So the reason I wanted to bring this 4K video transfer rate up is if you're using the PlayStation 5 with another TV that does not have the kind of bandwidth that the LG C10 does, and maybe you're getting some dropouts, you can actually reduce the chroma subsampling, that's the 444 or 422 or 420, in order to clear out some bandwidth and possibly stabilize your system. Just something I wanted to show you. So now I'm curious, what does that trade-off actually look like in gameplay? Well, to figure that out, I want to go into Call of Duty Cold War again, this time in performance mode with 120 engaged with 4K. This is not great. Take a look at the snow down at the ground here. It's just kind of filling in the patches as I get close, but if I back away, it's like the snow disappears. Like if I go around this corner, might have to kill a few zombies here, but yeah, look, no snow, snow. Back up, no snow, snow. That's not great. That kind of texture rendering is obviously not being prioritized here. Instead, we're working on frame rate. And I think that for a really smooth gameplay experience, that's cool and everything, but I'm not sure that I like how distracting the visual aspects are. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop out of this, go into the PlayStation settings again, and I'm gonna reset to resolution mode as the default. And then we'll go back into the game and see if any of that rendering was fixed up. And yeah, absolutely, it has. So the snow is on the ground at all times now. There is a little bit of fill-in happening, but it's mostly around shadows. It's not like there's absolutely no snow and then suddenly when I go up to it, there is snow again. So now that we know what these trade-offs look like, at least in the case of Miles Morales and Call of Duty Cold War, what's the key takeaway? Well, with Miles Morales, I'm fine with 30 FPS and the enhanced graphics. I don't feel that 60 FPS gives me that much more. I thought going into Call of Duty Cold War that 120 FPS would be exactly what I wanted and that I would be willing to give up some of the graphical elements to get that smoother gameplay. But now I'm not so sure. I guess I'm just kind of surprised at just how much bandwidth is necessary to bring all these elements together. If you want 4K at 120 with 444 color and HDR, you're gonna have to give something up, and it appears that graphic quality is one of those things. It makes me think that maybe game developers might want to shift their focus to reducing the demands of their game for the graphic elements so that they can deliver these high FPS experiences when they're needed. But to be sure, the trade-off here is very real. But wow, isn't it so cool that we can be so nitpicky about a game console now? I mean, we're basically pitting these up against the standards of high-end gaming PCs, and yet they cost a fraction of the amount. I think that we're getting very, very close to high-end gaming PC level here. Obviously, we're challenging the capabilities of televisions like they've never been challenged before, which has me very excited for 2021 TVs, by the way. But if we bring it back to the PlayStation 5 experience with the LG C10 OLED, honestly, I can't see it getting any better. The specular highlights, the HDR that the LG OLED is able to produce, along with the very smooth motion and the rich, deep colors, I mean, this is where it's at. I've never seen games look so good, and I bet they're only gonna get better from here on out. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. This was an especially fun video to make. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and here's 2 videos I know you're gonna love.